Stalker, and I actually like this pick a lot better. It exemplifies the burst roaming aspect that they're already putting on the table with the Templar Assassin and the Clockwork. You have Hookshot to get in, you have a Blink TA to get in, and the Night Stalker just runs really quick as the Hunter and the Knight. And they all get into position. They all do quick instances of damage, Meld Strikes and Voids, and of course he provides that silence that Anti-Mage is so fearful of. So Anti-Mage is going to have to play very far back, probably having a support guard as a bit of a buffer, and just make sure that the Anti-Mage doesn't get caught out and silenced, because that 4-second silence at level 1 can be enough to bring down the Anti-Mage easily prior to picking up the Manta style to dispel it. So I think SVG's potential is really strong, maybe even roaming early, like level 2, level 3, around the first night, with the Clockwork, they can kind of 2v1 on this Anti-Mage if the supports ever leave the lane. Earthshaker, however, the one I mentioned, is actually going to be in the hands of Root Gaming now as a result, and that's a great defensive support to diffuse those situations. Doesn't matter how fast you run if you're blocked by a Fissure, and along with that, just that extra stun at long range, it really is a great way to turtle under towers and to play very defensive. So Root Gaming, they want to break out of this laning phase with a farm advantage. They don't want to be just racking up kills for Cloud9, so they're going to play it close, they're going to play it safe, and I'm curious what their safe offlaner is going to be. They're just kind of keeping things in reserve. I mean, Magnus is the kind of old school pickup with Anti-Mage because you give them the early Empower, which is really strong, but I'm not sure. The one thing that you really have to look at is the fact that Night Stalker is not really... Night Stalker Dazzle is not the best combo for zoning out an offlaner. So you can get away with a little bit here at the offlane. Maybe they'll put the Earthshaker in the offlane, and he'll get a lot that way. We have seen that from multiple teams in the past, and I figure that they're capable of it for a Root as well.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
So, next on the list, we're going to be seeing a Bloodseeker ban, just in case that was going to be a safe lane forward for Cloud9, but, I mean, there's a lot of heroes that can benefit from the Dazzle TA negative armor, so I wouldn't say the Bloodseeker was the pick that I had to have, but, of course, it is still a really strong one, just because the Rupture locks down the Anti-Mage in such a way. If they really wanted the Anti-Mage, or the Bloodseeker, though, they could have picked it up in lieu of the Templar Assassin, and of course then they would have maybe had the TA option open for their last pick instead. So we'll see Cloud9. They've got 35 seconds on the clock to think about this, and 1437 is deliberating his safe lane options now. Spectre, Gyro, all those good late gamers are going to be banned out here. Phantom Lancer is still in the pool, not the best against Earthshaker Lina, but also not the worst. Trying to think of what else they might want to supply. So I was casting some SEA Dota, saw some really good Alchemist play, so that comes to mind as far as physical damage output, but I'm not sure if they have the rune control to really make that a stable grab. Either way, Cloud9, last seconds here, 1437 will pick up the Luna here, and that should be a really good way to get Buryu off his feet. I mean, Luna in general synergizes well with the Night Stalker because they both individually have night vision. The Lunar Blessing is what gives the Luna her 1800 night vision, and Night Stalker, of course, makes it nighttime more often than not. And I don't think they fix this. I think Eclipse still also gives you a short spurt of nighttime. It does change your clock a little bit. Yeah, it's a 10-second nighttime, so essentially every time we see Eclipse used, Night Stalker's timer will be pushed back 10 seconds, but yeah, there's ways to make that useful, to be sure. Either way, with the Weave, AoE negative armor, the Glaives are going to be hitting pretty hard for Buryu, and the answer right now is Darkseer. That's obviously a pretty independent offlaner, able to do quite a bit. Luna's just short enough range that she should be hit by some Iron Shell harassment, and Xion should get some early CS. So we'll see how it all plays out, but I love the synergy in Root Gaming's lineup. I think they have some great teamfight potential, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do with it a little bit. I mean, obviously, we're still just getting into game number 1, but they wanna go out swinging, and really, with the spells they have in their arsenal, there's some potential for them to just dominate teamfights, even as 4. Anti-Mage is going to be mostly focused on farming, but Root Gaming really can just combo up their stuns and go to town, especially trying to burst down this Luna. Luna is going to be the target of choice as far as I can see. Small issue, there we go. Reborn things, yep, but we're here, we're ready to go, and I am looking forward to seeing these teams in action. So, we have to introduce our two teams. We're going to see the captain, Derp, rolling around on the Earthshaker here, actually starting with a TP scroll in case there's too much dirty action on the mid lane. If the Night Stalker, for example, roams in, the Earthshaker can just TP, and he should be able to bail the Lina out. We're going to see Ja here. He's going to be playing on the Rubik. No boots for either of these guys, just going for the harder support items. And maybe, yeah, like I said, that smoke play to help out Monkeys Forever's mid matchup. We've got Monkeys Forever going Null Tally start, the standard Lina mid build, and we'll be seeing her there up against the TA. Now Waga is actually going to be holding on to this Ring of Protection, looking probably for the Vladimir's offering down the road. So we'll see what he does with that, but for now, just trying to stay tanky and also to keep himself sustained here to keep last hitting. Sion's going to be on the off lane here, has his ward, but hasn't placed it, and that's a clear distinction. We actually see 1437 taking a little bit of damage, but not really going to be much to speak of. They're going to zone him off of the Bounty Rune, and they're going to be covering it up for the TA here, Brax. So Brax has already started off with a healing salve. He's not going to be using the Courier until that bottle's ready, but just the fact that he's able to go this build instead, he doesn't have the Wraith Band complete, but he also doesn't have to bring the Courier out to get a healing salve. And, you know, that might actually be better. We're actually going to see Yuan. They know he has Ion Shell, so they're going to try to punish this a little bit. They've already voided once, and they get a lot of right clicks in before he's sent under tower. He does, however, in the meantime, get that Sentry Ward out, and I'm not sure if he tangoed it or not. It looks like he did not, but, yeah, he still was able to clear out that Sentry. And he didn't place the obs yet, so they're actually just kind of preemptively sentrying in a place that they won't find it. Oh, that clarity cancel is a little unfortunate, but he's still going to have plenty of mana to work with for multiple Ion Shells. Let's take a look at bottom lane here. MSS is going to be running on the Clockwork. Just going to get some pretty easy levels, able to cog block back pretty effectively, and if they try to go too hard on him, he can always use the cog to drain their mana and knock them back. Looking over the mid lane, we've got Brax. He is going to be starting off leading CS, but we'll see how the matchup plays out. I think the most important aspect of the mid matchup here is how the supports play around it, how they roam, how they gank. If either side gets more love than the other from their supports, they should be able to pull ahead, though by default, the TA with her Refraction should be doing some good work. We'll be seeing SVG on that Night Stalker boots first, just roaming around, but for now just pulling, and it's going to be Biryu getting some easy last hits under tower with that bonus damage from the Lunar Blessing. So, expecting probably some early stacks coming out here on the Dire Ancients sooner rather than later. I actually see Brax edging out the lead as she just kind of throws out a few spells onto the Refraction, but with this large flank, that could still mean a big momentum swing. They missed the Fissure, unfortunately, so Monkeys Forever has to pull back. Can he even get in for the next LSA? No! Because the Fissure missed, and because Monkeys Forever was fearful for his own life as Brax makes some really good hit trades, it results in a completely wasted rotation. Both the offlaner and the support roaming here to the mid lane and coming up completely empty-handed. Waga just keeping the tangos rolling here on the bottom lane, but MSS has been able to put actually a decent amount of pressure on him directly. And yeah, he's going to be farming under tower. Oh, misses that one. That's a very sad one indeed. But yeah, it's just Waga's going to be like sitting on really low HP with the Stout Shield. And even with the Stout Shield Ring Protection, you still see him dropping very low. He's not able to get all the CS, and yeah, it's just setting him back as opposed to Luna, who seems to be doing pretty good despite the Ion Shells. So I'm not sure if there's Shadow Wave play on these creeps. Sometimes you see just a quick Shadow Wave to counterbalance the push that the Darkseer brings, but in this case it looks like Luna will just poke it down while SVG zones the Darkseer off directly. This means Juon will still be at level 1 here, and it's not going to get surged for quite a while. So one key thing to mention here is there is still this ward placed by MSS. It is actually a Magic Bush ward, so that's going to be... Oh, now that I look at it, no, it's a southern... It's just south of Magic Bush. The box ends here, so it's just going to be blocking off this camp, and that might throw the Radiant for a loop a little bit here as Derp goes in for the Sentry. Looks like he's just going to be going for this Sentry here, and that should cover it. A couple pinks coming out. No, he just wants to go for the full flank. And we'll see, actually, MSS catching him inside the Cogs. This could be your first blood. Battery Assault and Cogs doing some good work. A few more right clicks required. The Rocket Flare will secure the first blood. But now Walga is in some trouble. 7 seconds on his blink. He doesn't have it. It's a 2-0. favoring Cloud9 as Brax makes a great rotation with the Haste Rune, now going under tower and hitting away. 2 more hits required, and with a little bit of fog, Juking Jaw still alive, but finally slashed down as Brax makes his way away. He will have Refraction here in just a second, but can he escape? He's going to go into the trees, the Fisher blocking him out. He has to fight this. No more defensive Refraction. Is going to have to go for a full run away. Waga with the blink block looking for it, but it looks like they'll just let it lie. Brax is going to walk away. In fact, he'll grab himself a 4-minute rune spawn and be right back to the mid lane as if nothing happened. In the meantime, Darkseer is going to die to the neutrals. I mean, I can't say that's intentional. I mean, he just got... No, it is intentional. Okay. So he just got a soul ring. He just got enough money for TP. I don't know. Without looking at it and without going back to the combat log, I'm not going to be sure one way or another, but either way, Darkseer is back up top, ready to start spamming this Ion Shell. He's level 3, he's got the soul ring, and that's pretty much exactly what he needs to be active on the offlane. In the meantime, though, we have this this rotation. We've got the Night Stalker and the Clockwork roaming together, as I mentioned in that draft. These guys can really be Bash brothers, and they can be right on top of you at any point in the night. So as soon as night strikes, Night Stalker gets involved. SVG loves this playstyle, and he's gonna just really punish any types of positioning mistakes. In the meantime, you have to look over at the Radiant wards. This is very important against the Night Stalker. Where are your wards placed? We have one on mid, which is giving good coverage there, and none in the jungle. So we're seeing Monkeys Forever disrupted a bit here, though he does have a DD rune. Derp, does he get the block? He needs it up to the high ground here. He doesn't get it in time. Hunter the Knight and the boots barely allowing SVG to slip up the stairs. So anyways, you got some good ward coverage here, at least you had it, until this Sentry took it out by 1437, and then your other Observer is up top. So you can cover those areas and make sure your mid is pretty safe from the Night Stalker, but that means this entire jungle area is very, very dangerous, and Waga has to play it safe.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
I don't know if that was intentional. Okay. He's able to disassemble it. And we'll be trying to kind of cache the Ring of Protection into the trees. Yeah, that was not intentional. A good thing is Valve did implement a means of disassembling boots. I think it's within the 10 seconds that you purchase them of. And if that's the case, he luckily just got it within the 10-second timer. But yeah, you don't want Tranquil Boots on Anti-Mage. You want your Treads and your Bassi or your Vlads. And in this case, he barely is able to break them before they're permanently glued together. So, SVG, level 4, has the option of going for the Crippling Fear here, but there's actually 3 heroes in mid lane, and it doesn't seem like they're going to actually find an opening. In the meantime, though, that means the supports aren't farming, and they're not covering Waga, who's going to be pressured pretty hard by MSS here. TA, though, is actually going to be the kill, and that was quite surprising. I'll keep a better eye on that, sorry guys. But nice little action there from the Darkseer. Finds TA farming the jungle at very low HP, and the Ion Shell and the right clicks are enough to bring him down. Waga will be caught inside the cogs with the Crippling Fear. He will be able to get this blink out very shortly, but they drop him down to 50 HP, and the Rocket Flare secures it. That's a level 2 Rocket Flare, bringing him low. Very nicely done by those 2 heroes. We're going to see a lot more ganks from them, to be sure. 1437 in the meantime, being in a lot of trouble. Will be able to get the Shadow Wave off. That's his last spell to offer. And Lena's going to clean it up at long range there. Nice Dragon Slave from Monkeys. But there's going to be the hook shot, locking in Derp, and Cha just says, see ya. That's all I can do. So Derp is going to be going down here. It does require MSS's Battery Assault, but dominating streak for the Clockwork now. 4-0-2, while SVG provides him the 2 assists. So this is looking really good right now for the side of Cloud9. Needless to say, 6-2, it's really helping them out. Obviously, the Darkseer did pick up 1 kill, and they did just get 1 there on mid, but overall, Cloud9's laning phase is just completely trouncing that of Roots, and they're going to be relying heavily on Waga to bring them out of it come mid-game. Waga, speaking of, is only at 37 last hits compared to Luna's 51. We're going to see some much bigger and better items from her. And, of course, I haven't even mentioned the fact, well, I've mentioned it a couple times, but we haven't even talked about the fact that the Ancients have not been touched. So that's going to be another source of income for the TA, while she's already at the top of net worth. So Brax, really jungle-focused, kind of screwed him over when he faced the Darkseer, because the Darkseer doesn't really care about Refraction after he hits level 5. A level 5 Darkseer Ion Shell will bring refraction down very quickly, and once those force fields are offline, it's right to the HP pool. So, a little bit of luck, kind of slowing down this TA, but even still, they're the two net worth leaders, and that should be the case for a while longer. In the meantime, Hookshot's back offline, so MSS is kind of trying to bait, it looks like, on the top lane. They are predicting a smoke gank here, where essentially they can have the MSS ready to Hookshot in, and then they can bring in the TPs, bring in the Night Stalker or whoever. In the meantime, though, we're going to see 1437 go for a stack, find that it is unsuccessful with this Sentry Ward, and probably look to take care of that pretty soon. There is an Observer Ward watching Brax farm this double stack up, but I really don't feel the Radiant are in position to take care of this. I mean, the Earthshaker is just barely level 4 without boots. The Rubik, same story, exactly. So, we're going to see Brax get some really nice farm here. Lina does pick up a few, but we're actually going to look top, where Xuan gets caught by MSS. Nice little hook shot, as well as Cogs, and that's going to enable them to finish him off before the TP can conclude. In the meantime, Brax is now 400 gold above the Lina, her counterpart, one in the mid lane, and it looks like Lina will be covering up the bottom room. Monkeys Forever feels very confident since he has this ward here on the high ground, so he's going to move out, grab himself a haste rune, and that could definitely net them a kill. But I think they need the Darkseer to be involved too. If they want to target the TA, the Darkseer is the best hero to make that happen, so I definitely think that if they can surprise her, they could kind of combo up this TA and bring her down, dazzle behind him or not. Brax does have a TP scroll though, so you have to kind of manage your stuns and make sure that you at the very least have an Aftershock ready to cancel that TP. He's doing some good jungle play here, just looking to finish that Yules, and it won't be much longer. A couple more stacks, he'll be there. And obviously that'll make the ganks even easier. You don't even have to kind of run around wasting your time with uncertainty. You can just kind of go right in. We're actually going to see Waga pulling forward a bit now. Like, he's already up to 61 last hit, so he's kind of closing that distance between him and the Luna. And of course, it's worth noting that the Luna's quite a few of the Luna's creeps are from the jungle. So you'll see there's only actually a 1,000 net worth difference between the two. But even still, Waga going for the Vlad's build here. It looks like he's not confident that he's going to be able to rush out the Battle Fury outright. He needs more armor, more HP. So he's going to kind of just split push it up, and the Clockwork is actually going to have some opportunities against him as soon as the next night falls. Night Stalker hits level 7, and that's when you're going to see the Darkness come into play. This is a 4-1-1-1 build, so it does look like he's been holding a point. He'll most likely put it in the Void, but he's just waiting for the opportunity, and pretty much now it is. You can actually just go ahead and expend the Darkness 50 seconds before night falls. They're at 11:10, and you'll actually just extend the night outright since the mechanic changed, but we'll see him hold on to it, and maybe he can collapse their vision a little bit when night is active. We're actually going to see that smoke gank I was talking about earlier, but this time there's a Yules in place, so there's absolutely no way they can get out. Even if MSS puts the perfect hook shot out, it's still going to be the death of Buryu, but we will see him get a little bit of damage in return onto Monkeys Forever. Now we've got the DD Rune pickup. This could be huge for the TA if she wants to get involved in another engagement. For 2 minutes now, they are a very deadly force. They've got the Night Stalker online with nighttime, Darkness active, and they've got a DD Rune on a TA. As soon as Luna respawns, they're in a really good way. There was one... Oh, nice deny there from the Clockwork, and 1437 helping out as well. But there is one really important thing that I feel needs mentioning. This Eclipse is not available. Luna popped the Eclipse right before she died, and that seems actually a pretty big blunder from Buryu. I still think that they're going to be an advantage in a 5v5, because Anti-Mage surely doesn't want to fight. In fact, he's going to be forced into a small engagement, but it looks like the pullback will be enough to get him away. But yeah, now they really don't want to fight, and even without the Eclipse, I think that Cloud9 are confident in this. Jaw's going to be going down first, it looks like. They're going to be pursuing into the tree line past the tower, but it's actually only SVG right now. He's isolated, he's caught by the vacuum, and Monkeys is now, oh, an easy pick! The self-fuels will dodge out one attack. The Shallow Grave keeping Night Stalker alive. It's actually going to be the Luna to go down first, and a huge cogs from MSS pulling in 2. It's going to be like double damage rune in play, allowing them to just clean up 4 kills for none. And surprisingly, the Night Stalker does live through that, the Grave, at the perfect time. And it really shows why this max Shallow Grave build is going to be the ideal. Because at that distance, he was just barely able to get the Grave off on SVG, where normally level 1 or level 2 Grave just wouldn't cut it. So, in the meantime, Anti-Mage does rotate and get some farm out of it, but Cloud9 are just rampaging across the Radiant side of the map. That double damage rune still in play for a couple hits. Brax will start desolating this tower with his freshly picked up item. So this tower, before being 40, is already down to half HP, and they'll go to Rosh immediately after. They take one tier 2 tower, and Roshan is open. And they're pretty confident there, since the Earthshaker has no blink. We'll see TA get the last hit on the tower. And yeah, there is no reason for them to... the only reason to rotate away from Rosh is the chance of killing the Anti-Mage. You kill an Anti-Mage, you take a tier 1, that's great too. But as we see Wagga rotating it, it probably would be better for them just to walk right in the pip. There's still no Wall of Replica from the Darkseer, going for a 2-4-2 build. And yeah, they'll look to gank up the jungle a little bit. Night Stalker roaming around. But in the end, yeah, quick kill in the tower. And it looks like the glyph was wasted, actually. Yeah, Radiant Structure were fortified after Luna had destroyed that tier 2 tower bottom. I don't know. No matter the case, it's going to be some trouble for Root. It looks like they are going to be up against an Aegis the Immortal in a very short time. They don't really have the tools to deal with this. I mean, the Anti-Mage certainly isn't going to be involved. He's only got Vladimir's and 500 gold. The Earthshaker is buying Arcane Boots, so he won't have a Blink Dagger anytime soon. It's really got to be on this Darkseer. There's got to be one massive spell steal when Rubik hits 6, and there's got to be a huge Wall of Replica on the high ground, I would presume. So, it's going to be Yasha up for Buryu. Nice pickup for him, of course. And the Blade Mail on the Clockwork is a pretty big deal, too. You can just pretty much jump on the lead at any point in time. She'll take 2.5 seconds off the cog time with her self-heals, but it's still not going to get her out of that situation like a 4-staff would. So let's look at the current state of the game. Right now we've got about 11,000 net worth favoring that of Cloud9. They're closing in on 10k experience, and it's only 16 minutes in, guys. 11-3. Cloud9 are doing really well in terms of just this ramp up of kills, and they're farming all the while. I mean, Luna is still up there with TA as far as the 2 last hit leaders, and they're dominating in kills. It's like there's no downside to their current position in the game. They will be a little bit more concerned when the Anti-Mage gets his next 2 items, but like right now, Wagga has to get Battle Fury and Mantis Style to really be a threat in the split push department. Otherwise, he'll just get silenced, he'll get caught out. It won't be pretty. Wagga will still be able to go for this tier 1 with his team behind him, but in the meantime, towers are dropping like flies as Cloud9 just moves across the map, just swooping in 4 or 5 at a time, and looking really strong. They're even going to be able to TP and keep this tower up, so having 3 people behind you still doesn't make Wagga feel safe here. We do have the Eclipse up top, so we're probably going to see a fight, and I wouldn't count Cloud9 out of it if they can just rotate one more hero in. Clockwork's nowhere to be found, though, and no TP on him. It looks like it's going to be a 4 versus 3 movement here. They've got the glyph, but a quick blink back, and they'll be fine. So, in the meantime, SVG is actually really racking up the gold. Here as a 4-position support with all these tower and Roshan kills, he has accumulated 4,800 net worth. What this means is he's going to have an Aghanim Scepter much sooner than the average bear. This Night Stalker is going to be able to detect a lot from what's going behind the tree line. They've already got vision advantage with the Rocket Flare, with Luna Aura, but the Night Stalker being able to get that clear vision over the trees, it's far better than what you get from Psionic Traps. You're able to really just catch your enemy out of position and see them before they see you.
Denied.
TA could blink in here, could do some heavy damage to Monkeys Forever, but it does come at great risk, especially under the creep wave. So it looks like he's just gonna, Brax is just gonna go for the safe play and clean up these Ancients, no problem at all.
Dire's top tower.
There's the Force Staff I was talking about. It's going to help out a lot against that Clockwork and bail somebody out, but only if that Darkseer's nearby, and unfortunately he's not close enough to help out Monkeys Forever, who will be caught by the Void. So she does get the Yules to get away from TA, but still far too much out of position, and of course the Darkness will come into play here. We actually hear a hookshot coming on to Ja. He was under a Dire Observer Ward, and looks like he'll be going down. Yeah. So, Derp just hiding as best he can, but with no tower to save him, he's going to go down in 2 hits. I mean, not going to say they should tap out yet, but they are in very dire straits. I mean, the Anti-Mage is nowhere near coming online. He is going to go for what I think is the better build here, Vlad's into Manta style. He just doesn't have the time to farm for a Battle Fury, so Manta's going to be the better item to allow him to survive the Crippling Fear, to allow him to actually push and to fight. The problem is, it just doesn't have the same impact without the Battle Fury behind it. He really is just going to be only a combat Anti-Mage, and he's still going to be like half the combat value of a Templar Assassin, who is running here with this Blink Dezo chomping on this tower, and it looks like it's just going to go down. I mean, we need this Darkseer wall to help hold it off, but I'm not sure if Juon's going to be able to find the wherewithal to get it down. He'll go in, there's a Blink back, but there's the tier 3, and they only get 2 on the wall. They'll just walk away from that. It does hold the racks for, 45 seconds, give or take, but it's definitely not what they need. In the meantime, Waga still at only 1,200 net worth on top of the Yasha. I just don't know if they have the ability to actually get this hero online fast enough. I mean, there's just this gigantic farm disparity between the two teams, as Cloud9 have been completely destroying the map. Now there's a BKB on the TA. If you can get a BKB on this Luna as well, you're golden at this point. I mean, you've already got a Sanjin Yasha on the Luna, so she's running around at 440 MS, but if she's able to also render herself immune to magical effects, Root just have nothing to bring to bear against her. Alina's nowhere near the Aghanim Scepter. So, we're going to see Roshan will be a pretty long respawn time. That's one thing that favors Root. Cloud9 would be looking for Roshan as soon as it's up, but it's going to be a little bit longer than usual. I think the reborn timers are still broken, though. Yeah, we know that's going to be in 5 minutes, but wow! That's a combo here on mid. Fortunately, even with the point booster, it still makes Lina very squishy when you can converge on her like that. Go for the quick meld strike, and as we saw, the hook shot. So they've got this negative armor really collaborating to just bring their opponents down. You've got Medallion, you've got Weave, now the Meld Desolator. It just makes it difficult for anybody to survive for more than a few seconds. And it's not like you can even go Ghost Scepter against that, because otherwise the Luna and the Night Stalker will just destroy you. So you can't just ghost away like most supports can against the TA. Good hybrid damage sources allow Cloud9 to maintain their momentum, and they'll just move right down to the bottom lane. The tier 3 is no trouble for Templar Assassin, and we've now got the Aghanim Scepter up for the Night Stalker. That's a great pickup in this position, because even when you're outside the base, you can see in it. Like, Dire Vision right now sees all the way to here. It's just insane. So, we're going to see SVG go right onto the tower with his HP pool of 1,600. Just going to zone out Zuon. What a great position for SVG to be in. He can't get the wall off the way he wants to, and Ja will die in just 3 hits. Eclipse goes out. The Eclipse goes the other way too, but the BKB shrugs it off, and the GG comes out. 18-3. Cloud9 put on a clinic here in game number 1 of the best of 3 series. Looking really strong to take it all the way. It's going to be here on Root Gaming to find an alternative strategy, because although I love the idea of combining the Stun, the Lina, the Earthshaker, and the Darkseer, they barely got out of the laning phase unscathed. It really started when that Night Stalker hit the first night. Oftentimes you talk about, like, Night Stalker, when he had the 6-minute nighttime, you're like, oh, he has to get stuff done the first night. And then when they switched the timers so that it was 4 to 8 minutes as your first nighttime,